There was a point where I thought this movie was going to be a lackluster waste of time, to the point where I pretty much ruled out seeing it. But sometimes, your gut instincts can be wrong. Hey everyone, Skull902 here, and today I'm going to let you know what I thought about the 2017 Power Rangers film. I will try to be as spoiler-free as I possibly can. I liked this story. It's a competent enough film for what it is. Was it excellent? No, but it was fine. I'm going to go a little more in depth in terms of the characters a little later on, but I thought it took an interesting spin on Zordon and Rita's conflict, where their backstory is concerned. I think there was far too little action, to be completely honest. We don't see the Rangers morph for quite a while, and I think for a 2-hour movie, it could have either been built up better or trimmed down. What little action we did see was satisfying, but wasn't particularly great to me. There was a lot of good character interaction, I think. The characters felt pretty genuine, and there was a good amount of moments I really liked. Wasn't a huge fan of most of the humor. I never did more than smile at some of the jokes, and most of them just fell kind of flat. Overall, though, I'd say the movie kept itself together well. Just to get this out of the way, I thought all of the main characters' actors played their parts well. Some more than others, but it never felt to me like they didn't fit in the roles. Jason was pretty good. I thought that him being reckless was fine, but believed that he should have been the only character whose personality from the TV series stayed the same, so that maybe he could have trouble understanding the other's issues at first due to having it perfect throughout his life. But what they did for him worked. He had a good character arc and became a proactive, responsible leader. Kimberly was the ranger I liked the least. Thankfully, it wasn't as bad as I feared it would be after hearing what I did about her, but I don't know. The whole thing with her past felt like it had no real conclusion, and she did come across as kind of a bitch in some parts. I don't hate this portrayal, but I do hope it improves in the sequels if they get made. Billy was a fun character, and I can definitely see why he'd be someone's favorite. There's a certain charm to him being this awkward kid who's smart, mostly optimistic, and loyal to his friends, wanting to keep the peace when things go sour and being the heart of the team, essentially. You really want to see him succeed, and when he does, it's some true feel-good material. Easily my second favorite, plus, that little clap he does when he gets excited is the icing on the cake. Trini was good. I don't think we quite got to know enough about her, but as the loner character, you can't really ask for much more. What we do get, though, makes her sympathetic and makes you want to be her friend, which was probably the intention. A fine Yellow Ranger to be sure. Zack, surprisingly, was my favorite Ranger. I think he receives the smallest amount of focus, but what's learned about him endeared his character to me. In my opinion, the intended purpose of the filmmakers for people to like Zack was that he's the wild and crazy one, but personally, I liked him for his backstory. Zack came off as really relatable. Not that I've ever had to deal with the same thing he has on his plate, but I understood his pain and why he goes about his life the way he does. Pretty good characterization if you ask me. Alpha served as a good sidekick character. Could have been funnier, like letting Bill Hader throw some ad-libs in there, and that's pretty much all I have to say about him. Zordon played the mentor role pretty well. He was far more stern than his TV counterpart, but still acknowledged the team's accomplishments and ended up truly impressed with them. His motivations and backstory I thought were some of the best and most interesting parts of the film, and I'm interested in seeing how it plays out in the future. Rita, as the film's villain, I also believe was done well. She was a perfectly insane and threatening, power-hungry tyrant, playing mind games with the Rangers and having this extremely cold way about her. Some moments came across as silly or forced, but I liked her a lot. As far as some of the other characters go, I liked Jason's dad, who bore a slight resemblance to Austin St. John in my opinion, and thought that it was unfortunate that Goldar became a throwaway monster. I also thought that Bulk and Skull should have been adapted into the film, and yes, I know they were trying to make this a more serious approach to the series, but most of generic bully kid number 335's role was played for comedy anyway, so why not Bulk and Skull? I will say though that GBK had some pretty great reactions when he gets hit. The only other thing I have to say is that when I read someone's suggestion that Paul Schreier, who played Bulk in the original series, should have played the detention teacher, I wholeheartedly agreed. Not that the guy in the movie was bad or anything, it just would have been a really good casting choice. Concerning the film's aesthetics, I like most of the designs. The command center is nice and mysterious. Zordon, while it took me a while to get used to the head in the wall thing, looks good. Alpha, not so much. I hated his design when I first saw it, but it's grown to being tolerable in my eyes. I was kinda into the Ranger suits when they were first revealed, but I really like them now, and I think seeing the physical suits with people really wearing them helped. Something I didn't pick up on at first was the texturing on the suits, which looks pretty cool. When I first saw the Zords as toys, I hated them, but in the actual movie, the individual CGI Zords I think looked pretty great. Still hate the Megazord though. It's pretty generic. I like how the swords are attached to its back, but that's about it, and I couldn't help but think the way that the Rangers control the Megazord was like a co-op version of QWOP. For the most part, I'd say the movie has a good look. Bonus points for Kim's Biggie Smalls shirt. I get a kick out of that. Go-Go Power Rangers was in the film for a criminally short amount of time. Not even the credits? That blows. It felt like an afterthought. I'm torn on the version they used too. As much as I absolutely love the 95 version, I think they could have scored a new one. But maybe using the older one was better. A new one might have been some crappy dubstep remix or something. I was surprised to hear that the Zeo crystal was a part of the plot. Its inclusion really intrigues me, especially for what may or may not happen later on. Another surprising thing was the cameos from two of the original cast members. I think they could have done a little more with them, but it was still pretty cool, especially after it was said that no one from the original series was going to show up. I liked the references to previous incarnations, to Power Rangers and Super Sentai. Those were a nice touch. I especially liked one of the jokes about a particular ranger at the end of the movie. The movie's edginess, quote unquote, was hit or miss to me. Personally, I don't mind the Rangers swearing. It felt natural in the setting since most teens use that kind of language anyway. I wasn't really a fan of the more mature jokes that they put in there and thought that a couple of things were forced, like, hey, did you know this is a PG-13 movie? For example, there's a focus shot of a bull's penis, and in one of Rita's scenes, her outfit shows a lot of boob. So I guess for any bull penis enthusiasts or boob lovers out there, this movie has something for you. Now, I'm gonna have to get a little spoilery about the next two subjects, so if you don't want to hear it, pause and skip to this time. I'll wait a few seconds. Okay, the first of these things I wanted to mention was the subjects of Billy's autism and Trini being a lesbian. As far as Billy goes, it felt like a PR move. It was brought up completely randomly, and I don't think he would have been any different had they left that detail out. For Trini, it was done better, but still feels a little bit like a PR move as well. What I mean by that is the revelation was handled well, mostly, but we'll get to that, and it's one of the reasons why I thought she was a sympathetic character. I wanted to reach out and give her a hug, you know? But at the same time, some things felt a little stereotypical, most of which I can write off as coincidence. Like, I don't think they made her a loner or be kinda boyish because she's a lesbian. What makes me think that was because of her complaint about labels, which just kinda gave me the impression that the writers were like, hey, that's something young people talk about, right? Look at how inclusive we're being. Please give us an award? I don't know, it just didn't feel 100% genuine, and I don't think characters like this should be written in just for representation points, if you will. It could have been handled better, in my opinion. I also quickly want to bring up the female Green Ranger rumors about the sequel. It's not happening. They clearly have a setup. Do you know of any girls named Tommy? I don't. And to be honest, even if that was the case, I don't think it's something to get angry over. That's a bit ridiculous. And there we have it. Is it good or bad? I personally think it was a good film, but I'd recommend anyone to really see for themselves whether they like it or not. This was the first time since Iron Man 3 that I went to the theater to see a film, and I thought the experience was great. Power Rangers is fun, has a good plot, action, and characters, and I'm definitely going to try to see the sequel if it gets made. Special thanks goes out to my mom, who took me to see it 20 years after we saw the Turbo movie, Rabid Sonic fan, who recommended it to me, Samurai-Karasu for being a friendly and very funny guy, and anyone who reads his blog as well as the thread about it on RangerCrew, both of which I'll link in the description. I've been Skull902, thank you for watching, and may the power protect you.